Hey. Why does it just go straight to live on this one? I can never understand it. I haven't even had time to tweet out yet. No one knows I'm live. Fuck's sake. Come on, YouTube. Tell me that I'm live. There we go.
Gemini and G.
Shut up. YouTube. Hey guys, how's it going? So we are still painting the Lord of Change, obviously, because well, the Lord of Change takes a long time to paint. But here is the current state of him. Where am I actually? Probably about there. Right. So basically, I've just decided I'm just going to trust the process on this. Oh god, sneeze. So basically, he looks better on camera than he does in real life, and that's good because you'll only ever see him on camera. So, I'm happy with that. Yeah, I've got army painted. I've got a big stack of the two thin coats ones over there. But you'll notice that his staff broke off, but actually that works surprisingly well because it allows me to paint the staff better and more accurately. But here is him with the staff. Contrasts pretty nicely, right? So I'm going to paint that separately just because it is easier. Evening anisite. I need to you can see the shine on the wings. Yeah, tactical rate. It was completely accidental, but it was actually perfect, and I'm glad it happened. The inks I'm using are wonderful, beautiful inks, lovely colours. They're just very shiny. But I have some Army Painter matte varnish here, which I will varnish them in at some point. And so I've decided I spent ages doing these fucking wings. Fucking ages. Over and over. With the fluorescent pink ink. And then using the eggplant to sort of do the edges of the feathers to give them this kind of internal glow effect. And to be honest with you, I don't even know if I'm happy with it. But I've just decided to just move on. Trust the process. Is the sound scuffed? I don't know. Sound should be alright. But anyway, so I'm just accepting that that's the effect that I'm getting out of it. And so I've just today gone over and painted the gold bits. There's a long way to go. I think I'm going to try and turn this into a green crystal dagger. I don't know how exactly to paint a green crystal dagger, but I'm going to figure it out as I go, as all of these things are. Today, all I really got done, I haven't had much time, but I got most of the staff done, which I'm reasonably happy with. The fire effect, I think, is okay. One thing that people do when they paint fire is they make the sort of dark bits far too dark. And I'm sorry, but if you just look at a fire, and unless you're looking at some sort of tire fire that has billowing black smoke out of it, most fire does not go any darker than sort of a dark orange. So I've just gone to a kind of what red did I use? It is just two thin coats demon red, which is a surprisingly light red. Airbrushes are fine. I'm just not using one at the moment. There's nothing wrong with airbrushing though. I'm just not. So yeah, that's come out okay, I think, and you know it looks good in contrast to the blue and purple on the Lord of Change himself. I'm hoping that the sort of green will as well. So you know it looks pretty good. But all right, I guess we could give this dagger a go, couldn't we? Guess we give this dagger a go. Now I don't know how well you can see it, but can I? There we go. Right. So it's got quite a lot of interesting edges on it. And I'm hoping I can do cool. What's the law for his hand? It just snapped off. Yeah, I don't know why I've got the sniffles, man. Like I've just every day I take a vitamin D tablet every fucking day, and I was assured that this would improve my goddamn immune system. I'm just gonna check to see what greens I've got a second. I'm just checking. Doesn't Hydra green, jade green. For some reason I've got them on the other side of the room. Fucking cocaine sniffles, you're right. Like, when would I ever have time to do drugs? So I've got these. Failing that, I've got the army painter ones here. Like rainforest, green skin, and angel green. I'm going to try the two thin coats. See how it comes out. We'll see how it comes. I mean, well, you know, fucking, I'm not terribly optimistic, but I saying that I'm kind of like in my own head. I've got no. I'm doing a lot of change. That's what I'm working on at the moment. I'll hold him up in a second. I'm just going to get the paints ready. Because this is a very, very dark green. This Hydra green, very dark, which is nice. I like but it's not desaturated green either, which is good. The jade green, I guess we'll find out. I tell you, I've been watching loads of oil painting videos, like how to paint miniatures with oils recently, and I'm genuinely interested in giving it a go. It looks like a Cheeto, does it? That look like a Cheeto? I don't know. I don't eat many Cheetos. I'm genuinely curious about giving oil paints a go. But I'm not going to do it with this. I'm going to paint this first, and then I can use these paint stages so I can shake. Then I'm going to try the oil paints. I've got a big set of oil paints just behind me. I've watched loads of videos of people painting. It's completely different. It is a completely different skill set. But I'm kind of interested in it, you know, because it gives the models a different look. Oh, thanks, man. I wasn't sure about it, to be honest. It looks better on camera. I think everything looks better on camera. Yeah, that's the thing. But it's got a nice contrast to the rest of the miniature. Right, Talisman Green is quite bright, but I don't know if it's as bright as I need it to be. I think I'm going to have to give this Rainforest a go from Army Painter. Because that is a brighter green, and I like lots of contrast. So the thing about the oil paints is they look really easy to use. But I noticed that a lot of the painters with them have problems with the contrast. And I'm just like, right, okay. Would I be able to get around that, or would I be stuck with the same problems they have? I don't know. I guess I'll find out, won't I? Let me just So this is a kind of bluish green. I'm sure you can see. I'm just using an old brush to whack it on. I am genuinely curious about it because I think it'd be fun, and it gives the miniatures a kind of different tone. But there's a lack of precision with the oil paints that the acrylic paints definitely have to their advantage. So I can't say that and I've never used the oil paints yet, but I do have an oil paint set that I got off Amazon for like 35 quid. Because I do want to try it just for the fun of trying it, of just given it a crack. So I think, shit, this is quite a big model and it's quite hard to hold yourself steady on it. I think it'd be fun just to give it a crack, right? And I suspect, like, for the project that Arch and I are working on, if I can become a good painter for it with oil paints, I suspect having the miniatures painted in oils rather than acrylics will give them a nice differentiation and give it a unique look and feel, because, like, we want the game to feel very different to other games, because I think it is. You know, Russian can attest in the chat, and I want it to have a different aesthetic to other games, and so you can see that his finger broke there. Like, I dropped him on the floor. He came out of it fairly well, except for that broken finger, and I would have glued it back on, except I can't fucking find it. So we just accept that, you know, sometimes they're scarred. can't be helped. I watered this down too much. Well, I'm glad you think it's looking good, Ahmed, because I have not been happy, to be honest. I've spent literally weeks now working on and off on these wings, and I've got to this point where I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to leave it and do the rest and see how it looks. Because the thing is, it's difficult to know how a thing actually looks in total when you look at the parts in isolation, and you could be happy with it, you might not be happy with it. But when it's all placed in its proper context and full total context, that's when you know whether you're actually happy with it or not. And so I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to get on. I'm just going to do the rest of him, and we'll see. We'll see how it looks. So I'm a bit... I've just been blocking in the gold because that's just easy. You know, obviously that's simple to... Yeah, I'm aware of all the techniques, Invisible Man. Thank you, though. I've been watching loads of videos on amazing painters who have been painting with oils. I'm going to turn these bits of fire in his hands into green fire later on as well. I tried with the red, but honestly I just didn't like it in comparison to the stuff. It looks too busy, and the rest of my Thousand Suns have got like green magic fire, so I'm gonna get that back at some point, but not now. I'll wait for that to dry for a minute. I don't know what I'm going to do about his this tabard, not cloak, I don't know what to call it. I've got some dark red. I got some. So one thing that's been a nightmare is getting good red selection. Honestly, I know this sounds petty. Right, get some good browns as well. Got the two thin coat stuff. Thankfully, Duncan Rhodes finally opened a fucking store. So I got some nice brown, hopefully. I haven't tried it, but I'm going to trust him that it is nice. And some darker red ones. So the Berserk Red, Sanguine Scarlet, Demon Red. The Demon Red is quite a nice rich red. So I'm going to probably do his sort of rags or tabard in red, dark red. It's either going to be that or black. Because I think it'd be quite nice. Yeah, it's not a trans flag anymore. So, you know, better than nothing, I guess. I guess we'll try out the Berserker Red, because I haven't actually tried it yet. It arrived weeks ago, and I just haven't tested it. Because the thing about getting reds, especially dark reds, is a lot of the time they pitch too far towards purple. And it's not that that's not attractive. That is attractive. But sometimes you want a sort of more red, if that makes sense. And I want one that doesn't pitch towards purple in the tone. So, well, this is quite nice. And it seems to be covering very well in one coat. So, you know, Duncan Rose going to get sued for false advertising now. Look at that. It's covering beautifully in one coat. I can't believe Duncan Rose lied to me. Oh, that is lovely, though. That's really... I'm glad I ordered these. That's really nice. Getting a like good solid dark red is difficult. The contrast flesh tearers from GW is good, but I hate GW's paint pots, so I hate using GW paints, and it's contrast paint. And it often, because it's contrast paint, they often go sort of shiny or satiny, which I hate. Really annoys me. It's not that it can't be dealt with. It's just I just find it really annoying. So that is a nice sort of brownish red. As V and his son, well, I mean, if he hasn't mentioned it in a while, I'm going to assume they're okay. V seems to be going on like a history arc at the moment, doesn't he? Like reading about the French Revolution and stuff like that, which is cool. He wants me to do a live stream with him next week, so I'm going to find some time to do that with him. So I haven't done a live stream with him for ages. God, look at this fucking angle. I should have dismantled it and had it broken up before I started painting it. Why did I do this? I don't know why I thought I'd be alright here. I don't normally do it this way. Normally I paint it in pieces and then assemble it. Don't know what I was thinking. Does anyone here watch koi fish videos? Just watch one of his videos. And all I've got to go around in my head now is him going, "Let's go!" in his Swedish accent. I do quite like his videos, though. They are funny. Like, he manages to turn Crusader Kings into something really exciting. Got Rupert Lowe in for an interview tomorrow, which should be fun. I'm sure he's going to have some fairly strident things to say about the current political environment, which is always nice. Can I get that in there? Come on. Fuck. Shouldn't be using the shit brush for this, really. Ask Rupert what his favourite chapter is. I'm afraid he's 67, so doesn't know much about Warhammer. Don't think he's one of life's natural war gamers. So I don't think I'll bother asking him about 40k. At least not on the record. Dan spends a lot of time listening to the 40k audiobooks, though. I've never listened to any of them. I don't know any of the lore in them at all. So I just play the games like a loser. Just paint the models, play the games. And like, everyone online's like, oh, you don't know the lore of this thing. It's like, well, no, but I could field an army that will crush you. And all these fucking autistic lore spurgs like, well, I mean, I've never played the tabletop game. Don't know the strength of a bolt gun. But yeah, exactly. Shut up. I started playing 40k back in 2nd edition. Shut your fucking mouths, honestly. Yeah, but you know the law about the fucking horse head. Shut up. Don't care. Not my problem. Have I seen? Yeah, I have seen that they've updated Bellwright, and it looks really good. I just haven't been able to find the time to have a proper game. I did have a short game of it. Like, it's, setting up a little town, but I haven't had time to properly get into it. Set up fortifications. How are the fortifications? I mean, it's a cool thing. Have you got siege weapons to knock down fortifications? Sounds like orc thinking. Well, maybe. I mean, Jesus. I'm not going to say it's not orc thinking. My first proper army was orcs. First lead miniature I got was the old Gaskell Thraka and Makari. God, I remember being so enchanted with the weight of it. So I got the 2nd edition box set, and it's, I'm sure it was Orcs and Space Marines, and I thought the orcs were cool. So I was 13. And I remember going to a wargame convention that was on, I was living on JHQ in Germany, the RAF base, but there was a wargames convention there, and I remember, and they had stalls and stuff like that, and I went down to it. I didn't have much money, obviously, but I had enough to get something, and I wasn't, this is all brand new to me at the time, and I saw the lead miniatures, and I was just, oh shit, this is badass. I remember picking up Gaskell Thraka and Makari in the sort of box, that sprue thing, and it was just the heaviest fucking thing in the world. I was like, okay, I was just entranced. I was like, yeah, okay, this is what I'll get. And I got it, and it was just the weight of it just felt serious and real. And I don't know why, but it's the tactile sensation of the weight of the lead miniatures that I miss. Like the lead dreadnoughts, man. They're fucking amazing. Just amazing. Now, just to be clear, from a modelling point of view, the metal was a nightmare, right? Absolute fucking nightmare. Well, I mean, you say tiny, but he wasn't tiny. He was still bigger than, he was, I can't remember, but he must have, fairly sturdy size. Like compared to, a little striking scorpion, he would have been way bigger and wider than, much wider than the striking scorpion. And it was just heavy. Just, you could feel the weight in your hand. It was just heavy. And man, did I love it. It was, it felt like something proper was hitting the table. So it was just banging. I maybe it's just because I was 13 and just first getting into it, but 2nd edition was just so much cooler than now. Oh yeah, the metal dreadnoughts. If you'd thrown it at someone, it would have fucking done them some serious harm. Yeah. Yeah, I never had the old pewter Azrael though. So I never had a Space Marine army until now, basically. Yeah, like the thing with the weight of the thing, like I said, that I was just completely enchanted by, is plastic was just. I mean, it's fine. Obviously, if you're gonna have a mob of 20 orc boys, you don't really want to buy them all in lead or whatever, whatever actual metal it is. You don't want to buy them all in lead. It's just too much work, right? And the actual metal itself, because the only glue I had to work with them on was super glue. It shit. It held together really, really poorly, and so you would constantly be losing arms and weapons to them just naturally breaking off, and it was really annoying. And so the plastic is, from a technical and modeling perspective, far superior. Like, it's so much easier to work with the plastic. Especially because some plastics, there isn't like this, the plastic glue which melts it. And then the plastic glue that Games Workshop has with the kind of plastic that they use makes everything so much easier, because it's such a secure hold that the plastic has normally. I mean, don't look at that guy's arm. It's such a secure hold that it very rarely breaks, and it's very easy to create something quite solid. With the lead, it was not, especially when you had like plastic arms that you're gluing to lead miniatures. Fucking hell, man! It was just a ball ache. But the weight of it, it was totally worth it for the thing to feel like it was made of something really substantive. And they weren't cheap either, obviously. The plastics were way cheaper back in the day. Of course, nothing... I mean, cheap is being relative when it's Games Workshop. But, you know, I see a lot of people complaining about prices on everything. Now, I agree the prices are high, and they've always been high, right? And that is insufferable. But it is art that we're paying for, right? That's the thing. And it's the same with computer games as well. And I'm not saying that obviously companies should be charging us 60 quid for a game, blah, blah, blah. But we do have a strange set of expectations, if you think about it. Because if you're going to do any kind of entertainment, 60 quid is a couple of hours worth of entertainment, right? Like, if you go to the cinema or something, whatever, the cinema being like, I don't know, 20 quid or something. I can't remember how much it was, 20 quid a person. So, 3 of you go to the cinema, you get 2 hours of entertainment. It's like, okay, but with a video game, I can buy the video game, and I've some of the games in my Steam library. Like, how many hours have I put into Rome Total War? Let me have a quick look. Right. Like, it's just okay. So Rome 2, I have 1,575.5 hours. So it's just like, right, and I spent what, 40 quid on that, whatever it was. And it's like, okay. I mean, let me get a calculator up. So, I mean, that's cost me about 2 pence an hour. Yeah, 2 pence an hour. That's pretty good. And like with the Warhammer stuff. So, okay, yeah, it cost me like 40 quid for a squad of Space Marines, but they're eternal, There's no... Yeah. There's no limit to the thing, right? Not only am I getting a beautiful piece of art that I get to now paint myself, which is lovely, but the thing, unless I break it, but then that's hardly their fault if I break it, if I don't take good care of it, blah, blah, blah. But if I do take good care of it, I'll put it in a box and only get it out when I'm actually playing the game. Well, then the thing... I can do these the same red? I'm not sure. Don't see why not, but I feel like I'm being lazy if I do. There's, I get an infinite number of hours out of it. And so it's like, yeah, so, I'm not a huge fan of paying like that. This guy cost me £105, but I've already spent 3 weeks getting entertainment out of him, right? And I'm still not done, and I haven't even used them in a game yet. Yeah, I bequeathed you my grandfather's space demons. Well, exactly, right? Now, Alistair, I'm not saying that hours per entertainment is necessarily the only metric to consider. Yeah, you are right. There are lots of grindy MMOs, and not just MMOs, there are grindy games that aren't necessarily fun. But that's about you choosing. There are lots of movies that are shit. That's about your engagement with the entertainment, not value for money, right? I didn't mean to. I broke off, but honestly, I'm glad it did. We'll talk about Medieval Total War 3 in a minute, if that's all right. I'm glad it did because it makes it easier to paint. The thing is, like, assuming the thing meets your expectations, which most things do, I think. Yeah, exactly. There we go. Like a friend moaned about a Blood Bowl team being £35, but spent 250 on one golf club, and that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with spending good money on your hobbies. You know, if you want to spend 250 quid on a golf club, go nuts. You know, like you'll get a lot of use out of it, I'm sure. In the same way that theoretically you'll get a lot of use out of your miniatures. So I'm not even that bothered, and I never have been that bothered about them costing money, because you don't actually have to buy that much, to be honest. And you can, and because of the nature of Warhammer, you can buy it over a long period of time as well. I hardly ever get to play these days, but you don't have to buy that many. Yeah, I knew you were going to say this. Carl shouted down from his ivory tower. Those pennies of plastic art. That's why it's hundreds to use plebs. Yeah, I know. You are paying for the art, right? That's what you're paying for. You're not paying for the raw material. Yeah, a game doesn't have to be that long either if it's got replay value, which, again, the kind of games I play absolutely do. I play like sandbox map games because I'm a nerd. But the price I'm not that worried about. And it's probably because I don't buy that many games or spend that much money on these things. I'll probably, if I buy one game a month, that's a busy year that I've had with games. Like, can I check my Steam library how often I've bought games? Can I get it to filter by? Can I get most recent? No. Doesn't tell me. I'd like to. Alright. Right, okay, yeah, I can sort by recent activity, right? And so. Right, so, okay, yeah, that's good. So last year, ignoring the ones of last year, let's go for this year. Spore? What's that? Oh, Kivs gave me that. I didn't. Right, so Red Dead Redemption 2. Didn't enjoy that much, to be honest. Got Jagged Alliance. Got Total War Empire. I got Skyrim, but I already had it. It's just that I need to buy it. No Man's Sky. Yeah, I'll go entire months without buying games. I haven't bought I bought Crusader Kings 3 the last month or this month. But this is the thing. I've bought about 12 games in the last year, which really isn't that many. You know? So it's just I don't get that much, and I'll buy a miniature from. I'll go into Games Workshop, and these days hardly ever. And so I personally don't spend that much money. We're paying the Lord to change, by the way. I personally don't spend that much money on any of it, and so when it's like, okay, I'm going to go and buy a model or a squad or something like that, and okay, I've got to pay 40 quid or something. Not ideal, but it's not the worst. And right, okay, so I'll try. It's like I said, it's not the worst, and no, it's not. And I don't resent the price, and there are lots of things on which I do resent the price. It's just buying art that is permanent isn't one of those things. There are lots of other things that I think aren't worth the money I have to spend the money on, like fucking taxes. You know, it's not. it's not the greatest evil. Now, I appreciate that. Obviously, there are lots of people who don't have that much money, and there are lots of things that they want to get but they can't afford to get because Games Workshop is staffed by Harry Potter-esque goblins. But that aside, I think that people make too much of the prices. Man's trying to run a business, as Red Letter Media say about George Lucas. So I'm not that bothered. And same with Creative Assembly. It's like, oh, they're going to charge us 60 quid for the new Total War. It's like, well, okay, well, they bring out a Total War when? How often do they bring out a Total War? How often do I actually... how do I... No, I want to do this the other way, really. How often do I actually give them money for a Total War game? And the answer is not very often, actually. Very fucking rarely. And then I'll play a Total War game literally for a decade before playing a different one. So, like I said, I personally think it's a bit overstated, the cost of these things. But I understand why people are annoyed with the costs, obviously. And it's not that the costs aren't high either, obviously. It's just I do wonder if we're expecting like cheap disposable tat prices for things that we dedicate hundreds, if not thousands of hours to, just something to think about. And like I said, I don't care if you're bothered about Games Workshop's prices, then fair enough, frankly. Why, you've got every right to be. But I'm just personally quite sanguine about it. I'm like, yeah, it's the nature of the beast. I guess it's because it's always been expensive. I remember when I was a kid, I was buying them in Deutschmarks and Pfennigs, and it was still fucking expensive. So I haven't accepted what do you think GW would give me, of all people, fucking money? Christ, on about Creative Assembly. They'd never give me money. Ever in a million years. I can't even imagine what would have to be going on at their company for them to be like, right, okay, we need to give Sargon money. We need to buy him off. Right, yeah, so let's talk about Warhammer Warhammer Total War and shit, what was I doing on that side right now? And Medieval 3. Well, Medieval 3 was a big non-fucking entity, wasn't it? Hey guys, we're thinking about going into pre-production on Medieval 3 Total War. Oh great, what do you have? Nothing. Literally fucking nothing. It's like, why are we talking again? Don't you have something to do then? Shouldn't you, announce something when you've actually made something, please? Like, don't waste my time if you've done literally nothing. We've decided the goodwill of making a Total War game. So, well, get on with it then. Don't fucking waste my time being like, hey guys, we're going to do this thing. Are you going to get hype? It's like, not really. Considering how shit your latest games have been, why would I get fucking hype? I'm not very optimistic that Creative Assembly is capable of making a good war game anymore, right? So no, I'm not hype for it. And I can't even critique anything because nothing exists. Have I done that wrong? I feel like I may have done that wrong. We'll find out later. Yeah, so I'm not hyped for anything because nothing exists, and I'm not optimistic because I've played your recent games, Creative Assembly. Yeah, I didn't take the Creative Assembly money, did I? And it's not that I don't want to be, it's just I've got no reason to fucking be. You know, give me a reason and I'm happy to be like, oh, wow, base, cool. But there's nothing there. I just think they're going to fuck it up. The problem with modern war games that the Creative Assembly team have been producing, the problem with all the modern games, is that the men merge with the terrain too easily. It's too difficult to pick them out. Whereas if you go back in the old style games, because they're using sprites as well as 3D models, they just stood out from the background. And it wasn't on purpose, it was just a natural occurrence of the nature of the sprite versus the 3D background, right? And I'm not saying that they necessarily have to do that or anything, but what I'm saying is, without thinking about it, they had a quite vibrant system by accident. And it made playing it actually a lot easier. Because, I mean, Pharaoh had this problem where it was just difficult to spot the fucking units. And then once you spotted the units, your own units, I mean, working out what unit you were even dealing with was a challenge. Like, oh, these are the two-handed guys, right, okay. I know these are archers, or this is some sort of spear unit, but that doesn't tell me much. You know, it was just difficult to spot them, and it made the game less pleasurable because you just couldn't tell. And it's like, okay, you know, would be better if, you know, would be better if it was just a bit more standout-ish. And this, when I saw 40k Total War announced. Oh my god, big hype. Well, I mean, same problems, obviously. It's being developed by Creative Assembly. I have got no faith in their ability to make games. And it looked fine. It looked like Dawn of War, right? Which, and concurrently, of course, the new Dawn of War was also announced. We'll use that. And they look basically identical. And Arch is right to point that out on Twitter. They look basically identical. But the Dawn of War one looks slightly better, frankly. And so it's just like, right, okay. Like, again, with the Warhammer one, you notice that it was difficult to determine what units you're looking at because they look very similar to their own backgrounds. So, okay, guys, we've got a real problem here. You know, you've really got to figure this shit out, because if it doesn't look good to look at, and it's just like, if I can't immediately pass what I am looking at with your game, then I'm just going to be like, okay, well, whatever. Like, I should be able to instantly see what I'm looking at. And that's what the old games did very, very well. It was very easy to see what I was looking at. "100% a temporal anti-aliasing issue." I mean, maybe, I don't know, you know, I mean, fuck knows. But the point is, it is an issue, and it is something that actually does matter to not just the enjoyment of the game, but the feel of the game. You know, if I've got to sit there and, like, squint at the fucking game, try and figure out what the fuck I'm looking at, well, it's not so great, right? Oh, fuck's sake, man. Like, I need a better holder. There's a real problem there, and if you don't crack it, then it's going to be a real problem for the game itself. And I just won't feel the need to play it. You know, that's the thing. I just won't feel the need to play your game. And it'll just be another Creative Assembly tank, game that tanks for reasons they can't properly fathom. And I'll be like, okay, well, I'm sorry this is happening to you, but actually, I don't owe you anything. And if you're going to just keep making games that are shit, then I just won't play them. And being shit doesn't just mean mechanics. Right, how's this looking? What are we thinking, guys? At least a nice contrast to the rest of him. Obviously, I haven't done any shading or anything yet, but just the color differential, I'll carry on. My Sam Hyde fan. Sam Hyde is probably the best postmodern comedian that exists. Like, you just don't know what he's going to say or do next. And I enjoy his style. Like, it's unusual and, let's put it, not just unpredictable. I mean, one of the things with Jimmy Carr that was always good is you just didn't really know what was going to come out of his mouth next. It was always going to be something pretty fucking edgy. Sam Hyde's kind of the same, but he's much more physical comedian, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that at all, obviously. And yeah, so I enjoy when they do things that. I mean, I don't watch comedians generally. Not that there's anything wrong with comedians. My time is very limited. Blah blah blah. But yeah, Sam Hyde is he is very good. He's very perceptive as well. Does have his finger on the pulse. Hey there, Ace. I'm good. Have you managed to get Dev to debate you yet? Yeah, I haven't watched it. I feel like he's giving a lot of my takes, though. I feel like he's been watching our fucking podcast, frankly. I saw the clips, and it's like, well, I've been saying that. Dan's been saying that. Lots of my guys been saying that. You're ripping off our fucking material, Jimmy. Yeah, the church has been pretty busy. Most of the time, it's my wife and my son going to it, because the two youngest are too rambunctious, frankly, and they cause a lot of trouble. But I had to go to my wife and son's confirmation the other day with like the bishop there and everything. The bishop was great, really superb speaking voice, really great speaking voice, superb orator, like old-fashioned orator, which was lovely. And it was packed, man. There must have been about 100 people there, which for a church in England is a lot. So, and these it's all men doing doing the service, and they were taking it properly seriously. Proper Catholics about it. It's Anglo-Catholic. I don't know what that is, but they're properly liturgical and all this. But it was looking and sounding good, and it went on for like 3 hours nearly, fucking forever, but it was fine. And there was 100 people plus in the place, so you can tell that people are actually getting something out of it, right? That you don't have 100 people turn up for a thing unless there's something to it. So that is good. That is cool. But I don't get to go like every week, because my wife actually wants to. She is actually the Christian, and she wants to be able to enjoy the service without chasing around the two youngest because they're causing trouble, and trying get them to be good and be quiet, not disrupt the service, etc., etc. So I just stay home with them. When they're a bit older, I'll take them, obviously, but not yet. Still too young. We tried, and just it's just not fair to everyone there, really. Painting some maps for Roll20 for my D&D game. Oh, I'm glad to hear this stream is a good accompaniment. I would like to play D&D again. I don't have the time. I've just got too much going on. So it's like I've got to pick. And, developing this game that we're working on takes any of the time I would have spent on D&D. It's coming along really well. Tell you what, though, right? People are going to have to start getting used to the idea of AI art being in stuff because, man, it's too cheap and convenient not to use. I know people aren't going to like it, but you don't understand, man. Like, a lot of the art that we're using, a lot of it, just not all of the art, obviously. We do have some artists, which we'll use for, like, the important stuff. But there's a lot of stuff that is not unimportant, but you know what I mean, like low level, that it's just like, we really want to use a kind of oil paint style. And the thing is, how easy do you think it is to find a fucking oil painter in the year of our Lord 2025? And how long do you think it takes for even a small oil painting to do? The answer is literally months, and it costs literally $1,000 per oil painting. And that's assuming you even are able to find an oil painter. Because, of course, oil painting is not something that people tend to do in the digital age. So people are going to have to get used to, in many ways, like scarcity and demand, necessity, making it so that AI is going to get used. Because, frankly, I just don't know how the fuck we're going to do it if we don't. I realise we're going to cop a lot of backlash for this, and it's not that I don't want to use, but out of just pure like resource scarcity and scarcity of talent in the method we want to use, I don't see any other option. We would never get it done if we weren't able to use AI. And it's not that I don't want to use a real artist either, obviously. You know, we've got a bunch of artists that we're paying on like stipends basically to do work for us. And they're great, obviously, they're superb. But we just can't afford. We'd have to keep like 30 or 40 different artists who are expert in different styles on the books. And we just can't afford that. And then it would take just months for each one to do whatever it is we want to do. It's like we can't wait that amount of time. We're not a mega corporation, you know what I mean? We're not Games Workshop. Even then, notice their art style's gone down fucking hill recently. You know, we don't have the ability to do that. So we either don't have a product, or we probably will have to use AI, or we have an inferior art style that doesn't set the tone of the game that we're looking for. So these are difficult questions that we have to answer, difficult like choices that we have to make. But I think we're going to have to go for AI, frankly. I just don't see a choice. And the thing is, the quality of what AI can produce is really fucking high. You know, it's really frustrating, frankly, how good some of the things AI does are. Now, I'm not going to be like shad about it and be like, yeah, I'm an artist. Well, I don't think he's getting that bad with it, but you know, obviously, I can see that this is not ideal, but it's about getting the thing done and getting a good result. And we can actually get the thing done and get a good result out of it using the AI. And I know people are going to get their panties in a bunch about it, but I just don't know what else we could do to get this project completed, even off the ground. Frankly, we didn't. It's like we've got hundreds of spells that need illustrations for them, and it's like, well, I can't afford to pay good artists the money they deserve to do that work. We just don't have that kind of money laying around. Even if we did a Kickstarter, I mean, you're looking. I mean, we probably will have to do a Kickstarter, but to get the level of art and artists for each and every one, it costs millions. You know, maybe we could raise a few $100,000, which would allow us to actually get the product to the market. But like, it would genuinely cost millions. It's like, no, we can't afford that. Like, things are too expensive. You sound like a horse dealer crying about cars. Yeah, kind of. Like, and it. I mean, I'm personally not bothered either way. I mean, I would like to use normal artists, obviously, real artists. But and when we're if what we're doing is a massive success, then of course we will. If we make a lot of money doing this game, then of course we will use real artists. Hire like long-term professionals, blah blah blah. But in the short term, that's just no way viable. No way that's going to happen. And so I realise people are going to get up our fucking asses about it, but it's just going to have to be the way it is. Like, there's no way we're going to get a minimum viable product without using it. Just not. And I can see why, like, Disney and that are like, yeah, okay, fuck it, man, we've got to go for it. Like, not that I endorse Disney. If anyone can afford to actually hire a proper artist, it's fucking Disney, right? But that's not us, I'm afraid. We are nowhere near that position. Did you get that, Jacob? An actual sort of digitally customized ad towards you. That is proper cyberpunk dystopia, isn't it? Fucking hell, man. Welcome to the future. It's shit. How's this sword looking? Not spectacular there, I'll tell you that. For nothing. It's not looking any better, is it? I'm glad it looks better than anything you can do, but I don't know how your painting skills are. Like, you might not be the world's greatest painter, right? Not that I'm the world's greatest painter, but like, fucking hell, I'm doing my very best. I'm working on this a lot recently. Well, not recently, but like. I mean, at least it looks different and interesting to the rest of the model, right? It's not a big AI project. It's a tabletop game, sort of skirmish war game. And so obviously, like, you know, all of the important bits have been done by me. You know, the writing, the rules, and the design of the models is being done by a real human artist. But there are lots of, like, you know, just pictures of things that you need, and honestly, we just can't afford to get human artists to do these things, especially as we really want to have a kind of old school, old world vibe to it. So we want to use oil paints and oil paintings to give it this kind of classic Baroque feel, which I think is really cool. But can you imagine how difficult it is to find fucking oil painters in 2025? And again, it's not just find the oil painter, find the ones who want to work with us. You know, and then when you find out how much oil painting costs, because of that time and labor that's put into it, you realize why the portraits you see are portraits of barons and dukes. Because it takes like months, literally, to do a single like oil painting, and it cost probably $1,000 at minimum to get like just a minimum thing painted. It's like, right, okay. So the only way we would be able to do that is using AI. And the AI is producing some amazing results. It's like, right, fuck. You know, so basically all I'm saying is be prepared for everyone to throw a fucking shit fit at us. Because I don't see how else we're going to get it done. Just do not see how it's going to be possible without using AI. And I don't relish it. I would rather, obviously, use humans. But the only humans we can afford, we're going to use for the actual important, impactful bits. And why not use the AI? And it's just like people getting up our asses about it is the reason not to. But frankly, I just don't see that we've got any other option, because there's no way we'd get the thing done without it. So that's the kind of dilemma we're in, but I think we're just going to have to eat it and say, yeah, sorry guys. You know, until we've got like Games Workshop style levels of resources, we will have to do that. Yeah. There's not a lot we can do about it. But on the plus side, if we end up getting Games Workshop style levels of resources, I'd love to hire a bunch of artists. Oh, thank you very much, Kiwats. Yeah, I appreciate it. I was reading him the other day, so it was always one of those philosophers. I was like, yeah, I'll get around to it at some point. And I couldn't not see it in the discourse that we're having at the moment, where there's clearly a lack of understanding that's going on here, right? We are obviously not understanding one another. And I love the concept of the death of the real, as in the lack of the death of the authority of reality over the hyper reality. Because we see that everywhere all the time. Like every shooting, nobody moves their position based on a real world event. Nobody changes. Oh, there's been a shooting here. Well, everyone's like playing the murder lottery. Is it one of their guys? Is it one of our guys? Oh, you know. But nobody changes their mind based on the actual event. The closest I've seen to anyone changing their mind is on the reaction that the side has to the event. Like Shu messaged me and was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, you were right. The socialists are bad people." I was like, "Well, you know, glad you realised finally. I guess." But the actual event itself doesn't matter to anyone. No one cares. Like, it either confirms or I ignore. It's like, okay, great. Okay, well. So clearly there's something more going on than that. And so I started reading Baudrillard, and he just lays out a compelling thesis, frankly. I think he's probably right. I think he's got some chops to him, that lad. He's going to go far. I've taken a lot more to wet blending these days. Maybe it's about confidence, but I'm just like, yeah, just slap it on and figure it out. What should I talk to Rupert Lowe about tomorrow? What do you think, lads? Obviously, Australia will come up. I can pretty much guess what Rupert's opinion is. It's like, have I mentioned mass deportations yet? It's like, nope, let's bring that up. Let's get on with it. The price of a Freddo. That's not a bad topic, actually, to be honest, because it has remarkable political salience these days. Like, you know, we're getting fucked. How do you know? Look at the fucking price of the Freddos, mate, alright? That's all I fucking know. Would you believe that they were 10p back in the day? I think a lot of people wouldn't believe it. Like a lot of young people now, why would they think that that was ever the case? What are we thinking, boys? I haven't read either of Empire by Michael Hart or Antonio Negri, I'm afraid. Yeah, everything costs the earth because we're paying idiots £12.21 an hour to do things. Yeah, it's definitely the way things are. So, highlight up a bit on this bit. Oh, I'm glad the wings are looking good. Because I'm glad you think so, because I was very dubious about them, frankly. Yeah, how do you get a rifle? I thought Australia did a gun buyback, etc., etc. There are lots of unanswered questions about this shooting. But the thing is, as with all things, just don't leap in on it. Let the facts come out. Then you're not left with egg on your face because, as Bojarado's demonstrated, no one cares. No one. The reality has no authority over the hyper reality. Unironically, it doesn't matter. Like leaping on a thing, no one changed their mind because of it. So don't worry about it. You don't need to rush to be like, yeah, that's your guy or that's our guy or whatever. You know, there's it doesn't that doesn't affect anything. No one person has their mind changed. Isn't that wild though? Events do not dictate belief. Say that again. Events do not dictate belief. That's just it's kind of crazy when you say it, isn't it? You always think, oh, I'm rational and factual and concerned about all these things. Like, no, well, is anyone really? Like, it's a conceit that we hold for ourselves that isn't really true. And what's more, like, it's okay that it's not really true. Everyone carries on every single day, knowing that they're not going to change their mind on certain things, because our politics is basically kind of like the politics of investment. Everyone is sunk cost fallacied into their position. There's no changing it. It takes on a kind of aspect where it's like unreasonable to ask someone to change as well. Like, think about like Bushra Shaikh on Twitter, right? She's like, yeah, like, look at the heroic Muslims. Like, okay, well, it doesn't matter because obviously the attackers are clearly Muslims themselves. But what would it take for her to change her mind on Islam and Muslims? So, there's no doing it because she is a Muslim. She has been a Muslim her whole life. All of her family are Muslims. Like, she would be rejecting it, you know, her social context makes it impossible for her to reject Islam and impossible for her to not believe and bring herself to believe that Islam is, of course, perfect in the same way that the average Christian in America is the same. So let's get past the vanity of believing that we rationally came to our conclusions and admit that actually, you know, these are more foundational than that. Actually, you know, to us, these are intrinsic beliefs that we can't just give up, and we won't just give up. Then suddenly, all the discourse becomes a lot more honest. Dialogue makes a lot more sense. Do you not think, folks? What do you reckon? Using that battery. I don't think that's looking too bad. There's a nice, interesting colour contrast with the rest of him. So, I think it is fiery. You see what I mean? Like, the colours are interesting and different to each other. Gad Sad speaks about this. Hey, have you ever read any of his books? No. Have you? No. Oh, I finally read The Clouds, and now I understand where the Thinkery Channel name came from. It's a pretty funny play. Yeah, it's been a long time since I read it. Yeah, that was just basically, it was just some fun. I remember back in the day, some SJW were like, oh, he's called his channel The Thinkery. He thinks he's so fucking clever. It's like, okay, bro. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Let's just assume I think I'm really clever. And I remember a H Bomber Guy video back in the day where he's like, oh, he's called his Discord Athens. He's so pretentious that he thinks he's clever. It's like, oh, man, anyone who knows, like, me talking about Athens, like from my Total War play throughs, will know that I like Athens because it was belligerent, warlike, insane state. Like, the Plato's School of Athens only overshadows the view of Athens in the modern day. But back in the ancient world, Athens was viewed as this kind of rogue pariah at many points, you know, where it's like, it's an insane state. A democracy, are you fucking mad? Why would you want to give essentially the worst people in society political power? Why would you want to do that? And we have not yet found an answer to that question. Why do we want to do that? We still don't know why we're doing it, and yet we are. But yeah, no, the Athenian democracy was bellicose. And that's why I thought Athens was fun. Declare war on anyone and anything. Then go and lose horribly. But H. Bomber Guy doesn't know anything about the history of Athens. So he's just like, oh, thinks he's so clever. It's like, well, I mean, sure, but that's not, the name of my Discord isn't proof of that. Bit of an in-joke, bit of fun, H-Bomber Guy. Do you remember fun? We became woke? Probably not. H-Bomber Guy's fun was tormenting people on that Metica forum back. It was something awful days. The thing is, I didn't do any of that, so my conscience isn't burdened with having, bullied people to death or whatever it is they did on that forum. I'm not worried about any of that. Sorry, I'm just focusing a second. I don't want to fuck up. I don't want to fuck up. Yeah, the Athenians just after Sphacteria, they declined to. No, that's totally true. Totally true. Like, oh yeah, don't get me wrong, Sphacteria is an impressive win. Very few people to, and it was quite small as well. It was only like 500 or 600 or something, and they're like, yeah, we beat some Spartans. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, you did, but calm the fuck down, boys. It was only a couple of hundred Spartans. Like, you didn't defeat the full Spartan army or anything. Calm the fuck down. You were just clever dicks about it. Okay, fine, yeah, well done. Good job. But calm the fuck down. And the fact that the Athenians were just hey, this general's doing quite well. Oh, is he? Great. Superb. Exile him. What are you doing? Yeah, we're sick of him. Yeah, everyone's getting a bit worried that he's going to take over the democracy. It's like, well, okay. But you are getting rid of your best and brightest. It's like, we know. They are going to go to the Spartans, like Alcibiades. It's like, yeah, we know. We have made our decision. And it's a stupid one that we're going to stand by. So, okay, genius. Well done, boys. And the amount of fucking people, again, the good people that they ostracized, genuinely wild. So it's like they were determined to lose the war. Absolutely determined. And they did. Good job, geniuses. But they were fun. That's the thing about the Athenians. They were very fun. Unpredictable. Strange. Insanely high on their own supply. You never knew what they were going to do next. And then the Athenians decided to do something really stupid. Oh, fucking great. Page turner. Absolute page turner, Thucydides, I tell you. Like, go on, what stupid thing did they do this time? He says, yeah, that's just literally the most ridiculous, retarded thing in the world. Brilliant. This will be gripping reading for another dozen pages. Well, I mean, Beau's entire Epoch series is book clubs on ancient works. That's what it's for. Put that down for a second and get a drink. He suggests books for a new dad, something philosophical, reflective, reasonable, good fiction, not how to. Well, Honestly, it all boils down to Aristotle, and I know I keep saying it. It's not very exciting to say. I've said it a million times, but it really is all Aristotle. Basically, all philosophy ends there, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I wish I had more time, because then I'd love to just sit down and do the history stuff with him more, but I just don't have time. Basically, once you've got Aristotelian virtue ethics down, everything else is kind of just a bonus on top of that, really. It's like, you can play with everything else. Oh yeah. Hobbes fucking loved democracy. And the thing is, there's no reason in their era either, in the sort of 17th century, for Hobbes to have any other opinion. Because what have they got? They've got the historical example of Athens, not a good one, to be honest. Then they've got the insane radicals of the Reformation in Germany, like the Anabaptists and stuff. You got the levelers and the diggers in England, and it's just like, okay, but all of these people are basically bonkers. So it's like, why I can completely understand why people back in the day were like, I'm just going to do the matte varnish. I can see why people back in the day were like, this seems like a bad idea. Because honestly, it did seem like a bad idea. And, I mean, have we proven them wrong? Has our democracy gone so very well that we're just like, duh, look at this Hobbes. Now we have foreigners in positions of power. Didn't see that coming, did you? And Hobbes, Hobbes would be like, why the fuck have you allowed this? Oh, I just never thought we'd have to think about it, really. But don't worry, Shabana Mahmood is going to solve the problems of the Channel invasions. I'd love to see Thomas Hobbes' reaction. Just catatonic, put his head into his hands, but like, there is a home secretary called Shabana Mahmood. England is overrun with foreigners. They're literally just they're sailing across the Channel, unopposed by the English Navy. And they're just rocking up, and we're giving them money. And then they do some terrible things, and we just go, yeah, don't look back in anger. And it's not all of them, yeah, I suppose, but it's just like, can you fucking imagine what Thomas Hobbes would make of this? In fact, I might plug that into ChatGPT. Hang on. ChatGPT, simulate what Thomas Hobbes would say about the current state of Britain. Hang on a second, I'm going to do that. Have you been subjected to Hollywood's ham-fisted? Oh yeah, I've seen the Animal Farm thing. Fucking hell. Hang on a sec. Pretend you are Thomas Hobbes. Render a verdict about modern democracy, the current state of Britain, both economically, demographically, politically, and our future prospects, and craft your answer in the style of how Hobbes wrote. Let's see what it says. I, Thomas Hobbes of Malmesbury, being recalled from the dust, only in conceit do deliver this judgment. Of modern democracy, the form of government most cried up under the name of democracy is in truth a many-headed sovereignty will not confess itself to be such. It promiseth liberty, yet defineth it not. It boasteth consent, yet cannot tell when consent is withdrawn, nor by whom it is rightly given. In my time, I observe, that where many claim authority, where authority is weakest, and where the law dependeth upon opinion, opinion soon dissolveth into faction. Modern democracy, as now practised, hath multiplied laws beyond the understanding of the common man, yet weakened obedience by teaching each subject that he is in some measure the judge of the sovereign. Thus the citizen is invited to dispute what he is bound to obey. This is not liberty, but a licensed contention, wherein every man carrieth a fragment of the sword, yet none may wield it to command peace. This is fucking banging. This is banging. This is a great write-up. Democracy endureth only so long as fear endureth. Fear of disorder, fear of enemies without, fear of poverty within. And when that fear abateth, gratitude vanish, and the people turn from governors as from hirelings whose wage is thought too dear. On the present state of Britain. Yeah, I know, this is fucking amazing, isn't it? Economically. The wealth of Britain remaineth great in memory and outward show. It is unevenly lodged and uncertainly maintained. Commerce still moveth, but no longer commandeth. Industry, it says "ith" a lot. Industry laboureth, yet findeth itself constrained by rule upon rule, while speculation flourishes where production once stood. The Commonwealth is consumes more than it makes, and trusts to future ingenuity to redeem present excess. I mean, this is so true. When men perceive that labour no longer secures stability, they grow restless. Where reward seems detached from merit, they grow resentful. Such humours are the dry tinder of civil discontent. Demographically, the people of Britain are no longer bound together by a single story of themselves. They dwell together, yet they do not always belong together in the imagination. This is badass. Like, diversity, which is praised as a strength, becometh weakness if no common authority defineth the terms of peace among differences. When customs multiply faster than laws can reconcile them, the sovereign's task grows harder. Men obey most readily when they see themselves reflected in the order that commandeth them. Politically, the state is not governed by one clear will, but by a perpetual negotiation among parties, courts, officers, and sentiments. Authority is everywhere invoked, but nowhere owned. Ministers promise what they cannot compel, and are blamed for what they do not control. The people, taught to expect salvation at the ballot, discover afterwards that power once divided is power much diminished. Thus politics becomes theatre and governance an exercise in delay. Fucking hell! Like, this is so good! Like, genuinely, this is so good! I'll probably do a video on it! It's absolutely banging! Like, all we need to do is just AI resurrect Thomas Hobbes to fix the problems. Just... Of the future prospects. The future of Britain dependeth not upon wealth alone, nor upon moral exaltation, but upon the recovery of confidence in authority. Without that, no policy endures, no sacrifice is borne, no common purpose sustained. If Britain continues to imagine that order may arise spontaneously from goodwill, or that liberty consists in the absence of restraint, then she drifts not suddenly into tyranny, but slowly into impotence. And impotence in a commonwealth is but another name for approaching disorder. Yet I do not prophesy inevitable ruin. Men are rational enough, when fear sharpeneth their sight, to surrender some pretensions for the sake of peace. Should Britain rediscover that the end of government is not the expression of opinion, but the preservation of security, then her Leviathan may yet stand, in altered form, but restored in function. This does need to be a video, doesn't it, Ace? This is just fucking brilliant. Final judgment. Democracy, as now adored, is not in itself the enemy, but is a fragile vessel, and Britain hath overloaded it with expectations it cannot bear. Where sovereignty is obscured, conflict multiplies. Where responsibility is diffused, failure is perpetual. Peace requireth not that all agree, but that all obey. And obedience requireth not affection, but authority that is intelligible, resolute, and feared more than chaos. This, in my judgment, Britain hath forgotten, but may yet remember. I mean... How is AI Thomas Hobbes wrong? That's the question, right? How is AI Thomas Hobbes wrong? Like, fucking hell, man. That's a very intelligent critique of modern democracy, frankly. Like, that's very good. Genuinely surprised at how good that was. And really, really well written. It uses F a lot, but like I was skipping over that, just reading it normally. I mean, AI John Locke's probably fairly predictable. Let's go for the AI John Locke then. Well, I know how Thomas Hobbes would want to fix it. A judgment concerning modern democracy, with particular regard to the present condition of England. Were I to awaken in this present age and behold what men now call modern democracy, I should first acknowledge with some satisfaction that the great foundations for which my contemporaries contended have not wholly perished. Government is no longer claimed by divine inheritance alone. The magistrate is said to rule with the consent of the governed, and the law, at least in profession, stands above the will of any single man. These are no small achievements, and they answer in substance to what I once defended in opposition to arbitrary power. That's very accurate. Locke definitely would have that opinion. Yet I must also confess that the form has in many places survived better than the spirit. That's a good observation too. Democracy is now practiced, appears less a careful trust committed by the people for the preservation of their lives, liberties, and estates, and more of a continual contest of factions, each striving to command the instruments of power for its own advantage. Consent, once given deliberately and guarded jealously, is now solicited incessantly, hurriedly, and often under conditions wherein the people understand little of what they authorise. Where elections multiply without restraint, reflection diminishes, and where laws grow so numerous that no man can know them, liberty is quietly exchanged for administration. Oh, this is fucking bangy as well. The danger of tyranny, which my generation feared from kings, has not been abolished but dispersed, lodged now in offices, committees, courts, and regulations, none of which claim absolute authority, yet all of which together exercise a dominion no single monarch could have maintained. The managerial regime is what Locke is critiquing here. On the present state of Britain. Turning then to Britain herself, I observe a nation still rich in talent, industry, and inherited institutions, yet suffering from a disorder not of poverty alone, but of confidence and coherence. Economically, the kingdom enjoys great stores of capital, learning, and commercial reach, yet these are unevenly distributed, and much of the productive power of the people is consumed not in the creation of new wealth, but in the maintenance of systems that grow cumbersome with age. Yeah, the fucking NHS. When the fruits of labour appear distant from the labourer, diligence weakens, and when property is hedged about by uncertainties, enterprise withdraws. A nation prospers not merely by the abundance of money, but by the security of expectations. Demographically, Britain has changed in ways no former century could have imagined. That a people may be enlarged by strangers is no evil in itself. Men are by nature equal and capable of becoming members of any civil society. This is exactly what Locke would have thought incorrectly. Yet incorporation requires more than residence. Where customs, loyalties, and understandings of law are not gradually aligned, the body politic grows divided within itself. A commonwealth is not strengthened by numbers alone, but by shared consent to its fundamental rules. Which, again, is true. Politically, I find much noise and little settlement. Parties speak perpetually of rights, yet seldom of duties, of grievances, yet rarely of remedies that do not require still more power to be placed in fewer hands. Parliament, once the jealous guardian of liberty, often appears the instrument by which liberty is redefined, limited, and conditionally granted. The executive grows bolder in emergencies. People grow accustomed to such boldness, and habits formed in crisis are not easily unlearned. COVID. Like, come on, this is so good, man. I can't believe I haven't thought about doing this before. Something relatively similar concerning the future prospects. As to Britain's future, I'm neither wholly despondent nor unreservedly hopeful. The nation's greatest strength lies in what cannot be quickly destroyed: its language, its tradition of laws, its long experience in self-government, and a populace not yet reconciled to open despotism. These are strong bulwarks, provided they are remembered and defended. Its greatest peril lies in a slow forgetting of first principles. When liberty is spoken of as a gift of government rather than its purpose, when property is treated as convenience subject to indefinite revision, when the people are taught to look to authority for provision rather than protection, then the original contract between ruler and ruled is quietly dissolved, not by violence but by neglect. This is fucking banging writing as well. Just so good. If Britain is to flourish, it must recover the understanding that government is a fiduciary power, held in trust, limited in scope, and answerable to those from whom it arose. Laws, this is so good. Laws must be few enough to be known, officers restrained enough to be watched, and rulers reminded that they are servants, not tutors of a free people. Should this recollection occur, Britain may yet renew itself without convulsion. Should it not, the forms of liberty may endure for some time, even as their substance is spent, until necessity or ambition supplies what custom has failed to preserve. Thus I render my judgment. The future remains open, but it will be decided not by declarations nor by elections alone, but by whether the people remember why they consented to be governed at all. Fucking good job, ChatGPT. I mean, that sounds like John Locke. Not gonna lie, that the writing style and the very incisive observations sounds like John Locke. And some superb observations there. I'm gonna think about these. This is such good, such good writing. Whether the people remember why they consented to be governed at all. Why ChatGPT not? It's just what I had in my browser window. I can put the same prompt into. I'll do the Thomas Hobbes one into Grok and see what it says. Well, look, Kiefer, all I'm saying is these are absolutely superb analyses of the problem. And they are right, they're correctly done from the perspective of these historical characters too. I've read Hobbes and Locke extensively for my degrees, and these are definitely the attitudes these guys had. Alright, so what does Hobbes think? This age hath erected a multitude of voices, a hydra-headed governance, wherein people fancying themselves sovereign divide into factions, each pursuing private appetites under the guise of common good, leading inexorably to tumult and erosion of the unity which alone can secure the commonwealth. Touching modern democracy, it appeareth a frail edifice, built upon the sands of popular will, ever shifting and prone to collapse. In this era, surveys reveal that clear majorities in diverse nations, save perchance Sweden, harbour deep worries for the state of democracy over the next 5 years, with France especially afflicted by such apprehensions. It's providing me sources here too. Globally, democracy weakeneth, with 94 countries, more than half the world, suffering decline in 2024. Right, okay, let's skip ahead of that bit, just because, yeah. Now, to the current state of Britain, that island once my native soil, let us examine it economically, demographically, and politically as symptoms of this democratic malady. Economically, the realm staggereth under the burden of stagnation and unexpected contractions. The gross domestic product hath shrunk by 0.1% in the last 3 months. Yeah, that's true. It's a bit more like current events focused, this one. Inflation permitteth the Bank of England to contemplate rate cuts, yet growth forecast downgraded by persistent labour costs, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right, so this weakness ariseth not from natural calamity, but by divisions of the democratic policy, where budgets and taxes provoke endless wrangling and sovereign power diffused among parties faileth to command the resources needed for true prosperity. Demographically, Britain's swelleth population nearing 70 millions, driven by the second largest annual increase, blah, blah, blah. I don't need the details. I want an analysis. The ChatGPT was actually better on this. Yeah, the ChatGPT one was better, to be honest. 'Cause it was giving the thing is like it was giving an actual verdict rather than just giving me statistics. Yeah, I thought Grok was going to be more exciting than that. And what? Any other historical thinkers? What else's opinion do we want? I want Oliver Cromwell because I know he's going to talk about our religiosity. Yeah. What's Berg's first name? I know what Berg's first name is. Oh yeah, no, okay, let's go for Enoch Powell. Edmund Burke, that's right, thank you. I did know that, I just couldn't remember off the top of my head. No, I'm not interested in what the Austrian painter thinks. God, we just do not produce men of the kind of caliber that are required anymore. There's just some bangers, absolute bangers in this already. Demographically, according to Enoch Powell, Britain is undergoing not just a change but a transformation, one unplanned, unmanaged, and therefore unaccountable. That's a great point. A nation is not merely an economy, nor a postcode, nor a jurisdiction for the application of law. It is a shared inheritance of language, memory, and expectation. When the rate of demographic change exceeds the capacity of institutions and customs to absorb it, cohesion is not enriched but strained. To observe this is not to impute motive, nor to assign blame. It is to acknowledge arithmetic. Numbers, like facts, are stubborn things. I mean, again, that's... I can't do the accent. I can't do accents at all. But that is just banging, wasn't it? Like, how fucking good is that? Genuinely. Like... Hmm. Don't know if I'm happy with this. Wonder if... Can I do something really stupid that I'll regret? I can do that. Oh, excellent. It's completely within my power to do stupid things I regret. So I'm going to do one. Try edge highlighting this and see how it comes out. Yeah, Cromwell's will be a caricature, I think, basically. Of, like, Puritanism. No, I'm not happy with that. No, it's still wet. It is still wet, kind of. No, it's not. Fuck. Yeah, Cromwell's will come out as a caricature of Puritanism, I think. I'm sure there are writings of Cromwell, but how well ChatGPT will know them is the question. Like with famous thinkers, obviously, you can get it to give you a reasonably good approximation. But with people who are not such well-studied thinkers, writers, less so. That Cromwell one, the Hobbes one, it's just fucking brilliant assessment, frankly. The current maladies of the country. Like, I agree with Thomas Hobbes. Not wrong. Not wrong at all. Disturbingly. I'm doing this. Yeah, this turns out. got focus. Thinking about it now, though, like look how good that fucking matte varnish is. It's completely matted down. Thinking about it though, like we genuinely could do with a kind of Hobbesian figure at this point, like someone who will quite bluntly give a kind of just an uncompromising assessment. And things I do actually agree with ChatGPT on the how bad things are. Is Britain too far gone? No, not at all. It's not over. Nothing's over. It's just we are being so wildly irresponsible and burning up so much capital that it's like, okay, well, at some point we'll run out, but things are not too far gone. Nothing is too far gone. We just need to remember why we wanted to be governed at all, apparently. As ChatGPT Locke said, which I think he's absolutely right about. Like, it's just so good. It's just genuinely such good fucking rhetoric coming out of it. But yeah, I agree completely with AI John Locke and AI Thomas Hobbes. What was there to disagree on? Yeah, they're the old masters for a reason, you know what I mean? Yeah, I will do a video on it. I will, because that is, I mean, it's just compelling if nothing else, right? But it's the nature of the considerations that is what's important. Like, we don't consider in the same way that these guys used to consider. And it's to our detriment. Definitely to our detriment. I don't know how well you can see here, but I need to focus what I'm doing. Went to the opticians the other day. I was like, look, I think I might need some glasses. And so I did these eye tests. And the chap was like, well, you have very good eyes. And I was like, well, that's good. But I can feel the strain when I'm doing very close in work. And things that are very far away, I'm sure are more blurry than they used to be. And so I sat there and did the eye tests and ordered some glasses, which I used to have some slightly long range ones years ago, but I don't know what I've done with them, and I've never really needed them. But to be honest with you, the guy was like, "Oh well, you've done pretty well. You're very lucky with your eyes, considering how good your eyesight is at your age. 46. I mean, I don't need glasses, but it's just it would be. Honestly, I was painting, and I thought I'll probably be a better painter if I can get some good short range glasses. Not that I can't see what I'm doing, but I think it'd be better to be able to see more crisply what I'm doing. But the guy was like, "You're very lucky, considering your age and considering how good your eyes are at the moment." I was like, "Well, that's good to know." But I'm worried about the strain that I put on them when I'm painting, because I can feel them going a bit funny after a few hours of painting. I can feel the strain on them. I just want a way of like reducing that strain. overall, I'm the luckiest in my family when it comes to my eyes. But don't know why my eyes are all right. I'm not going to complain, obviously. Well, I can't help being vital, can I? I think I've always had a fairly youthful energy around me. Strangely optimistic. Don't know why. Sorry, I know you can't see this, but it's quite a strange angle. I need to be able to do the edge highlighting. Okay. That's not looking too bad, is it? What do you reckon? Looks like a Chaos Demon. Well, that's good, because it is a Chaos Demon. I think I need a bit more on the back side. Yeah, I thought the green would be quite good too. Again, with all these things, you don't know until you've done it. But I was convinced. Like, I just had this thought in my mind. It's like, yeah, if I do it dark green with like the bright highlights, it should look quite effective. I'm quite happy with how it's coming out. Right. Need to do something in the middle of it. It's got this kind of bit in the middle. I guess it looks like it's glowing. Maybe I'll have to do that sort of glowing blue to match the rest of the blue glow. Maybe a purple glow, I suppose. But I need some sort of glow in there. The AI Hobbs to Rupert Lowe. Well, yeah, I wonder if he makes it. I better do the other side before I stop. Right. Good thing about painting techniques is once you've mastered them, it's pretty smooth sailing. Once you know how the thing works, you can do basically anything. Well, I just fucked that up, so never mind. Sorry about this, but I need those short range glasses. I've really got to focus on this bit. I always feel bad when I'm not like talking because obviously I am streaming. I can't dedicate enough brain power to talking and doing the difficult bit like edge highlighting. It's not even difficult, but you know what I mean, like. One of the problems with this fucking model is the size of it. I swear to God, every time after I paint some ginormous model, I go back. I can't wait to get back to painting something small, just normal sized. So not even small, but just something of regular size, regular dimensions. Not happy with that. Did I not do as much work on this side or something? Didn't. Did more work on the other side and it shows. Yeah, that Hobbesian AI, genuinely impressed with it, to be honest. The only thing AIs are really good for is bringing back dead people to explain why we suck now. None of the people who are living are smart enough to be able to figure it out for themselves. Am I missing anything? I feel like I'm missing something. I can get it. View. Yeah, looks okay. Probably do some more work on the shading on the actual thing to make it a little bit more green. It's a bit black, isn't it? But it's okay. Maybe it'll look better when I've done something on the middle bit here. There's something in there that's, I guess, glowing or something? I'm not sure. Was the Brett Weinstein interview up? Oh, excellent, excellent. I'm gonna share that because I had a very good chat with Brett Weinstein about this and about the nature of like what are our civilizations for? What are we trying to achieve? Like what is all of this about? And it's been a long time coming. I've always liked Brett Weinstein. He was always my favorite of the IDW. He was always the one of them that was prepared to go beyond the orthodoxy. Frankly, like it's not that I don't love Pete and all that. I really like them all, to be honest. But it was Brett Weinstein who was always furthest out on the edge and genuinely considering the hard questions that are comfortably ignored, and not, I don't want to say obfuscated, but it kind of is obfuscated by more mundane issues. And it's not that anyone's done anything wrong or anything like that. But he was always the one who was prepared to go further out on a limb than the others, and I really always respect that. Especially during, I mean, think about his coverage of COVID and stuff like that. You know, it's like, wow, okay, he has a much a much more edgy line than any of the other ones. Like, a lot of them didn't like it for civil liberties reasons and whatnot, which all fair. But Brett was prepared to genuinely go against the grain, and that was dangerous, very dangerous at the time, to go so hard against the grain. Yeah, Robert Malone was good. Yeah, that's where Brett separated himself from the pack. So yeah, right, okay. Anyway, right, I have to go to bed because it's 11:30, and like I said, I've got Rupert Lowe entry tomorrow, so hopefully that'll be out by tomorrow evening. So thanks for joining me, folks. Go and watch that Brett Weinstein, chaps. Is very good, and I'll see you all later.